When we look at insurance, we speak about three types of insurance which a normal person would need. The first is health, the second is life, the third is property. We'll have a quick look at health insurance. If there is one type of insurance that I would say is good for all people, everybody must have a health cover. Today, the cost of medical treatment, hospitalization, diagnostics is just shooting through the roof. You can see the difference, the escalation almost on a year-to-year basis. Just if somebody had undergone a surgery 3 or 4 years back, we are not talking about 10 or 20 years back, 3 or 4 years back, and has undergone a surgery today, we see a huge increase in the costs. And even if you calculate, this increase would be much more than the inflation rate. So medical care worldwide is becoming more and more expensive. Therefore, not only should we take a cover, our cover must be for the entire family. Everybody should be insured, including the moment a child is born. Many times for 3 months or 6 months you may not get a cover. But the moment the child is eligible for a cover, they should be included in the existing policy of the family. I would say that health insurance is the only type of insurance which I will say is compulsory. Life and property insurance should be taken only if required, and more importantly to the extent that it is required. So this is very, very important to understand. I've got only one piece of advice to give you in health insurance, and that is where health insurance is concerned. Always choose something called a floater policy, where generally up to 4 people, 4 members of a nuclear family, that is a married couple and their children, totaling 4 can be covered. Some companies, I understand, you can go even up to 5 or 6 members of the family. Once you have a cover, let's say a 5 lakh cover for 4 members of a family, the advantage of a floater is each individual has no limits. So in a given year, if 3 people are healthy, but one person has a serious problem that requires almost 5 lakhs of treatment, that one person can make use of the entire cover. So a family floater cover, as it is called, is very, very important. And one more piece of advice which I have not written here but I can tell you about it is, always look at something called a co-payment option. A co-payment option is where you tell the insurance company, suppose I lodge a claim, I too am prepared to pay a certain amount of my expenses. I am not depending upon you for the entire reimbursement. A co-payment policy tells the insurance company that you are serious about your cover. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a 5 lakh health insurance cover. Now, something serious happens to one of the members of the family, and the cost of medical treatment is 2 lakh rupees. Let us say you have a 10% co-payment option. If the insurance company agrees that yes, your claim is valid, we intend to compensate you for 2 lakhs. Now the co-payment option comes into play. 10% co-payment means out of this 2 lakhs, I am prepared to pay 20,000, that is 10%. 1,80,000 will be paid by the company. So it is called my skin is also in the game. Very often the claims are processed very quickly and without too much investigation when it is a co-payment option, because the company knows you can lodge a claim but even you have to pay, and you have to pay a percentage of the bill. So there are 10%, 15%, 20% co-payment options. My personal health cover has a 20% co-payment option. I am prepared to pay. I don't want to pay those huge catastrophic losses. I am prepared to pay something if something happens to me. So it's like a shock absorber. Frank Nettie, who gave us the concept of financial responsibility, he says this: if you think good health is everything, then health insurance is next to it. So this is very, very important. Health cover is compulsory. A few quick ideas about health insurance. The first thing is, whether it is health, life or property, we must understand that in India, health insurance the insurance industry has been privatized since I think a little over 10 years now. When it is privatized, there is competition. When there is competition, you must obtain quotations, not fall for the first insurance agent who comes your way. Quotations can be obtained through insurance brokers. Quotations can be obtained through insurance portals online. It's not difficult. The second thing that you have to do is read the brochures in detail of the lowest 3 quoted plans. So when you get quotations, let's say from 13 or 14 companies, don't blindly go for the lowest quote. That would be very foolish. Take the lowest 3 quotations. Next is look at that policy. Every policy will have a brand name. The brochure of that policy can be either got from the agent or from the website. It is not difficult to read a health brochure, health insurance brochure, because it generally runs into some 4 or 6 pages. It's just like a leaflet, pamphlet. I'm not saying it gives you the whole picture, but it gives you a reasonably good idea of exactly what this policy is, what you can claim, what you cannot claim, what are the exclusions, all these things. So it is very important that we read those 3 brochures of the 3 lowest quotes, and then we must take a decision. So it is not blindly taking the lowest quotation. The other thing is, many people are employed, and when they are employed, the company covers them for health. Some companies cover not only the employee but also the family of the employee. I say that even if the company has got this kind of a cover, even then you must take a private cover of your own. Why? There are times you may quit a job. There are times you may lose a job. A case that happened in Bangalore some years back, which I got to know from another financial advisor. A youngster having a good job with an IT company found an even better job with another IT company. On a certain Friday was his last working day with company A. 2 days holidays. Monday he was supposed to start with the new company. On Saturday evening, he met with a motorbike accident. He was hospitalized for 2 or 3 months because he had several compound fractures. The bill was quite high. He had a health cover by his old company. He had a health cover of his new company. But the health cover of the old company ended on the Friday that he quit the job. The cover of the new company would start only on Monday. This happened in between. He had to shell out his entire treatment expenses from his pocket. So this is not a very happy situation to have. Therefore, you must have a health cover even if your company provides a cover for you. Co-payment options I already talked about. The other thing is, you must decide between cashless claims and reimbursement claims. A lot of hospitals and companies offer cashless facility. A lot of others say you can pay first and then you can claim your reimbursement. There are all sorts of rumors floating that when you opt for cashless, the bills get hiked. Sometimes the insurance companies delay the payments to hospitals and so on and so forth. But depending on your overall financial position, you will have to take a decision about this. And the last piece of advice, at least in this slide, is just like you have got a portability option for your mobile phones, you also have a portability option for health insurance. If you are not happy, if you find that there's a sudden steep hike, unjustified hike in the premium from 1 year to the next, obtain fresh quotations. You can use the portability option without losing any benefits. But remember one thing, to use the portability option, you need at least 2 months. So if at all you suspect that I may not get a very good deal from my existing company, about 2.5 months before your health cover is up for renewal, obtain quotations and keep them. Then you can take a decision about whether you want to shift or not. I can tell you that I myself have used the portability option once and it was a good experience because one particular company, there was no claim from our side, there was no change in our health conditions, but the hike in the premium was atrocious. I used the portability option without any problem and without any loss of benefits. The other thing that I want to talk to you about is a number of people are a little hesitant about how to handle the claims process. Many of them say companies cheat you, they don't reimburse on time. All that may or may not be true. Those are things we cannot control, like I told you. What can we control? We can know how to handle the claims process effectively. The first thing we have to understand is that there are two types of medical treatment. One can be a planned treatment, the other can be an emergency treatment. Examples of an emergency treatment can be treatment because of an accident or a sudden health condition like a heart attack. A planned treatment can be you go for a checkup, something is discovered, it needs a small procedure or a surgery or even some hospitalization for some time. And the doctor says, no hurry, you can do it anytime in the next 1 month. So this is all planned, this is not emergency. If it is planned, you have to obtain from the doctor exactly what this situation is, when are you scheduling the treatment, and a copy of that letter has to be handed over to the insurance company at the earliest. If it is an emergency treatment, then you have the option of telling some of your family members where your policy is and asking them to inform the company at the earliest. The ideal thing is to inform within 24 hours, but sometimes even if you do it after 2 days, the company will not grumble too much. So, you must always inform your own close family members exactly where your important documents are, especially the health insurance policy. A very good idea is to make a photocopy of each policy, keep it somewhere else, or scan the policy and save it on a computer so that people have access to it. It can be forwarded easily to either a hospital or someone else. These are all very simple, common sense steps that we can take. And one more step which I may not have included here, but it's very important. It is very important to build up a good track record in insurance. So if you keep taking insurance, renewing it correctly on time, every year you get your policy. What most people tend to do is, the moment my new policy comes, I throw off my old policy. I advise people not to do that. Open a file and keep filing. You can always show someone, I've got 10-year, 15-year track record of these policies. They are readily available. You want a photocopy of the policy? Yes. Many times when you use the portability option, the new company to which you are going will always ask you, can we have photocopies of the last 3 or 5 years? And if you say things like, I've got even of 10 years, then you're looked at with respect. You're somebody who's serious. You're somebody who's efficient, meticulous. You keep your records. Actually, they are looking for such customers. So, all this is also a very good practice to do. If you are claiming something, then you must arrive at an unbiased conclusion about whether a rejection, in case there is a rejection, is it correct or not. The company has to give a ground for rejection. Once you give the ground for rejection, go back to your own health policy. Look at whether there was a clause under which the company has a right to reject the policy. If the company has a right to reject the policy, there is no point in fighting. But if you think that the matter can be agitated, then consult either an expert on insurance or a good lawyer. And if their conclusion is that the rejection is improper, then never beg or plead with either the insurance company or its staff or its manager. Never do that. Never do that. Everything should be documented. Send a notice. Either you send a notice or get a lawyer to send a notice. Then you have got options. You have got actually 3 options. The first is you can lodge a complaint with the insurance ombudsman. In India now, the insurance ombudsman is very much in operation, the system. And if the insurance ombudsman rules in your favor, the company has to pay up, no arguments. Second is the consumer forum, where you yourself can go, you don't have to engage a lawyer. It's a very simple process, and there are any number of consumer groups, so NGOs, who will help you with the process. The third is, of course, a court case. You should not hesitate to do this. Very often when you send the first lawyer's notice or threaten a consumer case, the company comes for negotiation. And you must also know that at least in India, from what we have seen, a huge number of consumer cases and court decisions go against the insurance company. So they are also scared of it. They know, and many times they get free bad publicity also. There are people who will regularly publish these things in the newspapers, how this company was forced to pay. So the claims process has to be handled correctly. Then you can make effective use of your health cover.